Evening. It's 5:30 and we'll go ahead and call the November meeting of the Human Rights Commission to order. Uh, We'll have the attendance, please.
Jim?
Here.
Bird? Here. Rick?
Here.
Jair?
Here.
Carol?
Here.
Barbara? Here. Fonda?
Here, Berta.
Berta, here. Sorry about that. And Peter?
Here.
And Ellen present, so we have a quorum. And we have a couple of absences. We have Guy absent, Jamie absent, and Larry absent.
Those are all approved.
All approved absences.
Okay. We do not have a guest speaker this evening, but we will have some visitors a little bit later on. I will do the land acknowledgement. As we gather today, we acknowledge that Eureka, California is ancestral territory of the Wiyot people. We honor all indigenous people, territories, and sovereign governments that share governance within Humboldt County, California. We gather with respect and gratitude to these indigenous people. We thank and honor the indigenous caretakers of this land who continue to cherish and protect it. Their elders have instructed the young to consider the 7 generations ahead as they continue to protect the land and the rights of and all people who live on it. We encourage all to align with and follow the lead of local indigenous communities as they steward the land and protect all of its natural resources. We'll have a moment of silence. Okay, are there any agenda adjustments that we need to make at this point? If not, we'll go to the minutes of the October meeting. I shared these with everybody. Hi, Neil. Hi, Copley. I have not usually done the way I did it this time, adding it to the agenda, but I think I want to do it that way going forward. Just a reminder that any member of the commission that finds anything wrong with the minutes should let the secretary know as soon as possible so that she can incorporate those changes prior to the meeting. Having
I didn't get her.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, is there one?
Yeah, actually, because I brought my own. Who needs one?
Charlie, yes. Okay, having said that, are there any adjustments or corrections to the minutes?
Just Berg's.
Hmm?
Just Berg. Because she is amazing.
And you've already received those. Okay, so that being the case, the minutes will stand approved as amended. Bird is our copyright person and editor, so she catches almost everything that most of us do.
She's amazing.
We have 2 guests with us, Copley and Neil.
Julian, actually.
Huh?
I'm Julian, actually.
I'm sorry. I apologize. Okay. And their presence will be explained here in a few minutes. Okay, the treasurer's report. Carol?
I apologize. I went to the bank and they were closed. It's
I wrote it
now
down.
Columbia.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they changed names, but I did go online. It's $5,015.35. That includes funds that are earmarked for the Youth Human Rights Commission, which we have 2 members here receiving. Commission communications, just a reminder to have somebody. No, never mind. Thought somebody was joining the meeting. Just a reminder that Zoom participants may only join during designated public comment periods and must use the raised hand emoji feature for recognition. Disruptions, profanity, inappropriate content will result in removal from the meeting. We would like at this point to do a round of introductions. I was going to do just the three new people that are with us, but I think it's appropriate that we all introduce ourselves so that they know as much about us as we know about them. So let's go ahead and start with Ella.
I'm Ellen Murphy. I lived in Humboldt County for about 5.5 years. I learned about the Human Rights Commission when I was working on my project for my master's in social work, and I've been working at helping out the Human Rights Commission ever since.
And she is our secretary.
Right now, so
Yeah.
do my best.
Okay.
Peter Pennycamp. Until this moment, I've been the most recent member, and so I'm really glad to have some people join me as newcomers. And I think that we're not paying enough attention as a country to human rights and the history of human rights work in the world and internationally, and we certainly haven't been applying it here in a rigorous way. So I think the commission's really important. I think having a more activated community that's bringing forward human rights issues is really essential.
Yes.
So I'm really glad you.
My name is Berta Pitts, and I just look forward to contributing and learning and participating, and I'll probably be pretty quiet in the beginning and just get caught up, but I think it's a neat opportunity, and I'm glad to be here.
I will have some materials to share with you when the meeting ends, because you weren't able to make our orientation,
Okay.
but these things will be a little help to you, I think. Barbara?
Yeah, I'm Barbara Nelson. I in McKinleyville. I was born and raised there, and left for college and had to come home. I learned about the Human Rights Commission when Supervisor Madrone posted on the McKinleyville Community Watch Facebook page. I was like, that sounds, I'm for human rights. And I think it's a really important thing to talk about. I mean, all of it. So I'm here enthusiastically, and will also probably be kind of quiet as I get my bearings, but.
Well, we won't allow you to be quiet for too long. Right. Thank you, sir. Carol?
Okay, I'm Carol Larson. I'm a transplant from Lassen County. I came to Humboldt State and graduated. I was asked to be on this commission from a former chairperson of the Weop tribe, Cheryl Seifer. She invited me to participate. So culturally, on my mom's side, I am a California Indian, Paiute Pit River. And on my dad's side, I'm the Little Shell tribe of Chippewa. And that has to do with boarding school. I'm here because human rights, especially for the indigenous people, has been always violated. And we need to stand up and for culture. I think in the 1970s, when we had the American Indian movement, is when we were gung-ho, and then, we were no longer felt we needed to be in the closet. We need to step forward, speak out, and fight for their human rights. But it's not just for the indigenous people, it's for all people. Great. So far here.
Jair?
My name is Jair Magana. I've lived here in Humboldt County for the majority of my life. I want to say I didn't know about the Human Rights Commission. I got an email. I worked for the county and I received an email. And then I saw all the committees and I was like, oh, this one seems very, it was interest to me. So I jumped on it and I'm really happy to be here.
Thank you.
I'm Rick Botzler. I am a retired academician. I was at the faculty at Humboldt for a number of years. This is my second stint on the committee. I was in the late 90s and then through the early 2000s Then when my wife and I retired, I left Humboldt County. We joined the Peace Corps. When we came back, then we were doing other things for a number of years, working with youth groups. And after my wife died, Bird just kind of nudged me and said, well, what about coming back to the commission? So when I thought about it, I thought, there's not a public service that I really value more than the Human Rights Commission and the work that we do. So I come back on.
I'm glad you did.
I'm Bird Lofty, and I'm probably the old lady in the room. And I've been on the commission probably 20 odd years. Been here a long time. I've been in Humboldt County since 1960. I worked with my husband doing the book work for his veterinary practice until after he died. And then I have been a consultant to nonprofit boards of directors for a number of years. I love Humboldt County, and I want to see everything improve in every way, and human rights is the place to start.
Okay. I'm Jim. Oh, go ahead. I'm Jim Glover, the chair of the commission. I should point out that Carol is our treasurer. I didn't catch that at the time. I was born and raised in Arcata, and I have lived here most of my life, and I've been chair for a few years. And I enjoy it very much. And I'm really hopeful, just as Peter said, to see us get more reinvigorated and more aggressive in the limited areas that we can in advising the county and influencing the community on what human rights should look like and good human rights. So that's our mutual goal, I think. And Peter, you had something else.
Yeah, just one other thing. I spent my first year basically not saying a thing and trying to figure out, first time I've been on a commission like this, and I don't find the structure to be an easy one. It's created by the Brown Act and there's things we can and can't do. I will say when I started speaking up, and every now and then cross lines that we're not supposed to cross, that Jim and others have been very generous and gently. So I'd encourage you not to worry so much about the strange structure, and count on our leadership, as I do, because I'll never get it straight. Ever.
The Brown Act is a challenging state protocol that we have to follow, and after you get used to it, it's not too bad, but
It's supposed to create insured participation. It does the opposite.
it just does the opposite. Yeah, it does. That's true. Okay. Okay.
Going to introduce our
Let's go ahead and do that too. I wasn't overlooking you intentionally, but go ahead and introduce yourselves.
I am Nehemiah Thompson. I am the current chair of the Youth Human Rights Commission. We're just starting up. I'll get more about that later, maybe. Yeah, I'm here with
Julian Jackson, the media manager for the Youth Human Rights Commission now, I guess. And that's pretty new, but yeah, I'm excited. We're getting it fired up and we're starting to recruit more and more people. So I'm happy. I've been a part of it for a little bit, and I'm glad we're getting really rolling now.
Pretty quick, there will be time to do a more in-depth report. Thank you for being here. In our committee reports, the first item on the agenda is correctional facilities report. I'm going to combine that with my October 1st through 15th message line report because there is a lot of overlap. Currently, we're getting a lot of phone calls for visits from incarcerated men and women in the Humboldt County Jail. And in fact, I visited 2 today, earlier this afternoon. But during the time of my message line work, I had, how many was it? 5. I had 5 jail visits for 3 males and 2 females during that time. The most common denominator, other than, of course, wanting out of jail, is, I don't know if there's a reason for it, but there are complaints that they're not getting medications that they normally are prescribed for. Some of these are Suboxone, which I'm not really familiar with, but it's an anti-opioid medication. Others are dietary concerns. There's not a lot we can do except to make the jail aware that we are aware that this is going on. And that's what we have done so far. Otherwise, if an inmate requests that we go with them to their trial or to a hearing, there's really not much we can do at that point. But we are able to at least listen. I go back to my grand jury days, but today when I visited the 2 inmates that I did visit, the cubicle that we are allowed to visit in, the key didn't work and the phone didn't work. So we had to yell at each other through this very thick glass. So as a former grand juror, I noticed things like that because they typically do jail tours, and I hope the current grand jury didn't miss that when they were going through. Jamie had October 16th through the 31st, but she isn't here tonight, so we'll delay her report until she returns next month. Right now, Rick is on the phones through the 15th, and Carol has the phones through the 16th through the 30th. I know it's early. Is there anything?
Well, I've had one call, it was a jail-related call, I referred it to you, and we had an exchange about that.
And I visited that person today.
Good, okay.
Okay, so at that point, we're looking for volunteers to do the message line, which is simply retrieving calls from a voicemail. And then privately, you don't have to give away your own private phone number, calling them back to see if what it is they want. Generally, what's happening now is that we are being requested a jail visit, and we would then turn any jail-related problems over to me, who is the acting jail liaison person, and I would contact Bryce Arnold at the jail to set up a visit. For all other issues that are called in, they could be anything from racial issues to homelessness to
Neighborhood abuse.
yeah, you name it. It could be any kind of thing at all. Those are the ones that we generally can phone them back to. And we do that to find out what's wrong, to see if we can't help them, then we offer them resource cards so that they might reach out to the right people in the county that may be able to help them. So December 1st through the 15th, we have an opening for 2-week period. And December 16th through the 31st, we have an opening for a 2-week period. Anyone, you want to volunteer? Okay, you want the first period?
Yes, please.
Okay,
I'll take the second.
okay. And I will get you information and it's kind of a cheat sheet on how to go through the process. And thank you. Other committee reports, in the copies that you received, I said red highlighted items below need revision or rewording. That may include anything from their expiration date to a purpose change. So the first committee is the Standing Ordinance, Sanctuary Ordinance Committee. It's a standing committee chaired by Guy, and he's not here tonight. I understand there's no new activity except that he had met with Fernando Paz at Cal Poly, and there will probably be something to report at the next meeting. The standing committee, of which the Sanctuary Ordinance Committee is one, has no expiration date. So just so you know that.
And falls under the Brown Act.
And it does fall under the Brown Act, unlike our ad hoc committees, which don't. So most of our work can be done a little more comfortably when it's not under that. Because otherwise you have to post an agenda 72 hours ahead. You have to make sure the public is made aware of the meeting, and it's a little bit laborious. We have a rapid response committee, which has as its purpose to improve responses to volatile community issues. Right now, there's no pending issue that I'm aware of. I'm always welcoming people to bring something to our attention. You can always call me or email me. Okay. I will get to you, Nicole. And then we write an article, usually printed in the Times Standard or Lost Post Outpost, giving our feedback. The most recent one that we had was the billboard just south of Arcata that was inflaming people's emotions on both sides of the Palestinian issue. That has been taken down. The problem has gone away. Excuse me, the problem hasn't gone away, but the immediate issue has. The next committee up for discussion is the Youth Human Rights Commission. It has an expiration date from our point of view of 12/31/25. Before they give their report, I'd be open to suggestions to extend that for a year.
Yeah, I would say for a year.
Okay, here to report or not. Let me make one statement to Nicole first. There will be a time for public comment. Potentially, I may have skipped it. I'm sorry.
You did. Okay.
I did. Nicole, if your comment is on a non-agenda item, I can have you make your comments now. If it's on an agenda item, we'll wait till that item comes up.
Yes, sir, Mr. Glover. I'm so glad that you caught my hand raised there. I thought I missed the public comment on non-agenda items.
Did you want to do non-agenda or?
Yeah, non-agenda, if you don't mind, real quick. I'm a local. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, great. I'm a local reporter and human rights advocate like yourselves. I've not made a public comment with this commission in some time, but I'm so grateful for y'all listening to my human rights concerns. Above all else, beyond what I do, I'm a local mother to my wonderful 6-year-old son. He's my world and I'm his world. But he has been completely harmed by our local family law court. And I'm really not sure where to turn at this point to help him. So here I am. I just wanted to let this commission know there are extreme human rights abuses happening against children in our community and violations of parents' constitutional rights in our family law court. They're causing extreme harms like ACEs to children in our community, and I think something needs to be done promptly. I hope your commission can help. I've witnessed our local family law court ignore peer-reviewed studies, expert testimony, and even their own mediator's advice. And they're causing trauma to children by removing them from safe and loving parents, from their safe and stable homes, schools, and communities, all without due process. For example, I've been in a custody battle, unfortunately, because of my high conflict co-parent I've been in a battle for 4.5 years, almost 5 years now. I've still never been able to take the stand or speak. And terribly harmful orders were made, removing my legal rights and almost all physical custody of my son. And my son's case is not unique. It's actually happening regularly, that children are ripped from their safe parents' nurturing arms without any stated reason or just cause. And sometimes, like in my case, they're placed with documented abusers. I feel from my experience that Minors Counsel and our judge, Minors Counsel Deborah Avenmarg particularly, and Judge Van Dyke need to be investigated and held accountable. They've both been incredibly biased against safe parents, often mothers, to the detriment of local children. My son's father's abuse was documented by a teacher who filed a CPS report, and she testified on our behalf that my son was locked up in a room for days at 4 years old, forced to lay on a dirty floor alone again at 4 years old, and he was force-fed aggressively. My son told 6 different people about this abuse by his father. The court completely ignored this child abuse, and it's ongoing. It's put my son in incredible danger. Also, Sheriff's Deputy Rojas' testimony was also ignored by our family law court, explaining my son's father is a documented liar and manipulator. He's filed over 30 false reports against me, as the deputy explained, to harass us, and all to my son's detriment. All of this evidence was completely ignored, and I've again never been given the chance to speak or put on my case before losing all rights to my child, whom I've been the primary caregiver of for his entire life. There's so much bias by Minors Counsel. An entire courtroom full of supporters thought she was my son's attorney. She actually calls my son's father her client.
I'm sorry that the 3 minutes are up. We certainly
Okay.
appreciate your comment. Because it's a non-agenda item, we can't really comment on your comments tonight. However, if you wish to compose a letter, an email detailing some of what you've covered here, it could be added to a future agenda, and then we could take more action on it. So I would encourage you to contact the Human Rights Commission by email and share your information, and then maybe we can do a little bit more for you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Okay, thank you very much for being here. I'm sorry, I've been doing a clumsy job of getting you folks up, but now's your turn.
Okay, so yeah, we are we're 2 of the members of the Youth and Rights Commission. How long ago did you start in process of making it? You guys know about it, I guess, but.
Probably like it. Well, I didn't start like right at the beginning either, so you would probably know better, right, Jim?
Been about a year and a half.
Yeah, you're a half. Yeah.
He's been in it longer than me, but I'm the current chair. We are kind of right now primarily focused on kind of just setting up and getting a good ground. We are working on a website right now. I think it's nearly done. We did a round of recruiting. We're still in the process of getting more though. We had a meeting just this Monday, I believe. You weren't there, but where I believe 3 new people came with 4 official applications. And then we're kind of in the stage on as well as recruiting, now that we have more than the 3 members we had at the start of this year. We're starting to look at some other issues that might be affecting youth and Humboldt and stuff. Notably the SNAP cuts and the EBT cuts and all of that. That's something that we are just starting to look towards, just as we start out.
You might share with some of our members are new as well, so you might share the makeup of your commission? The age range,
Right.
things like that?
Sorry, I am kind of blanking on some of it, but I believe we changed it to be 14 to 21. That is the current age range, that we designated as youth. We have a treasurer, a media manager, a chairman, and a secretary as our like executive committee, main positions. As written right now, we have a maximum of 10 members, but that is currently up for changing at our next meeting. I think that covers the makeup. There's something else.
What schools have we been recruiting again? Because we've been largely recruiting at Academy of the Redwoods, which is the high school on the campus of College of the Redwoods, as well as CR itself, where we have several like sociology students who are like using us to get their community service hours as well. So they've been a big help.
We've been trying to recruit at other high schools, but unfortunately, it's been somewhat unsuccessful as every time we try to call or show up, or we haven't tried showing up, but we've done a couple rounds of emailing and a couple rounds of calling to no avail. We are still going to try to throw our heads against the wall until something comes out of it. But that is the current status of our recruiting. But they are, has been a fruitful tree so far. So we are doing good.
Sure. Any folks have questions for it? Carol?
Yes, you mentioned you have issues other than the SNAP. Can you share some other issues?
I don't think we haven't gone to the hyper specific ones, but we have discussed some broad issues, specifically stuff like which the SNAP falls underneath youth basic needs, trying to make sure youth, no matter socioeconomic class, have all their basic needs met. Youth homelessness, LGBTQ plus rights, class conflicts, ICE, land rights. Those are like we discussed it throughout a couple meetings. Those are our main ones. We are trying to look into more specifics and stuff.
And also, I mean, a little bit like advocating for children overseas and stuff like that as well. But we're kind of trying to use it essentially as we're advertising a lot as a space for people to come and share ideas, and if they have any like human rights topics that they want to bring up, and it's a perfect vessel for that essentially.
Great. Other questions?
Good job.
Okay, well, keep up the good work and we'll keep monitoring what you're doing and try to help whenever we can.
It's so nice to see this program going and getting established. I think it's a real nice additional contributions to the community. So thank you.
All right, the next committee report would be the Cultural Awareness Indigenous People Report, which again falls under that deadline change. I would advocate for 12/31/26 unless there's any objection.
That sounds good.
Okay. All right, Carol, is there anything to report?
Yes, the commission had approved a letter that we would send to tribal leaders as well as a cover letter. The concern was many of the tribes don't have a voice when it comes to our board of supervisors. So we were asking that maybe we have a tribal liaison that sits with the board of supervisors. We wrote a letter, which Jim's got a copy of a letter that we sent to 10 of the tribes. We have 8 in Humboldt County, and then we have the other 3 were in Del Norte County. So we included Del Norte just in case they wanted to have input on our board of supervisors. I know Del Norte County has a tribal person sitting on Sue Master is now a board of supervisor.
She attends all the board of supervisors meetings.
They appointed her to fill a vacancy.
Well, if Del Norte County can do it, she should certainly be able to do it.
Exactly. Okay, so we sent the letters out. One came back and We're gonna try to
Resend it.
resend.
All right.
I have a question. When you're saying that the tribes aren't having a voice at the supervisors, is there a specific subject you feel that that would be pertaining to, or is this just like a generalized statement? Or is it like, was it something specific or?
Years back, and Peter was here, the city of Eureka gave 3 acres back to the Leot tribe. That was the first in the nation that ever happened. So that issue being coming up. Well, there's also 7 other tribes besides we are on Leot land, but there's 7 other tribes. There's issues that could pertain to their tribal sovereignty. Currently on tribal land, it's called, we call it Estate 215, which means if a crime happens on tribal land, the local police officers can come on the land if it's criminal. But if it's not, then the tribe handles it. Some of the tribes, the Yurok tribe, they have their own tribal police. There's concerns when things happen that the local sheriffs and the city police are not addressing to. We had a killing that occurred in Humboldt, and it still has not been addressed. So to have these various issues and to have a tribal person picked from the group of the 8 tribes in Humboldt County to sit on the board of supervisors to give input on their concerns. And it could be, and currently it could be SNAP. It could be the federal cuts. How it will affect not just.
It was like a huge thing, something like that. And then would you be also involving the rancherias in that, or specifically?
Well, that's what when I say tribes, I'm
including the rancherias. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions for Carol? Okay, I'm going to insert, because I'm messing up my own agenda tonight, a statement that you all have copies of. And it's when you mentioned SNAP, it made me think of other cuts. So we have shared with you a flyer for an event at the Eureka Women's Club on Wednesday, November 12th at 5:30 to 7 p.m. And it's to explore how recent funding and policy changes are destabilizing essential services, affecting our local economy and placing greater strain on our most vulnerable. Nonprofits cannot carry this burden alone. So stand with us as we navigate these challenging times. The panel will be moderated by the League of Women Voters. The doors open at 5, introductions at 5:30. There will be some survey results shared between 5:40 and 5:50. Then there will be a panel for about 1 hour to discuss the issue. So it may not directly affect you, but it probably affects people that you know. And these various groups work in their own individual ways to try to help people. But right now they need help. So if you're interested, please feel invited to attend. Next committee has no report. It's the Technology Committee. Its purpose is to revitalize commission presence in the community by use of electronic or digital media and other means. So there will be a report at the next meeting. Yes.
Can you move the date to 2026?
Yes, we'll extend that date to 2026 also. Actually, we'll go ahead and do all of them. Yes, Carol?
2026.
Yes.
Since we're going over these and we have new commissioners, are you going to consider asking them to join?
Well, good point. You can wait till you get your feet wet, or if something strikes your interest level right now, please let me know and we'll be glad to add you to an existing committee. So if one of these sounds like something you could contribute to and would have an interest in, we'd be more than happy to add you to it. And on that note, we'll go on to the next one, which is constructive conversations. This committee is chaired by Rick Botzler.
Okay, so our committee is looking at communication on difficult topics. And of course, with the politics, this has often been a really touchy issue. It's just talking to people who think really differently from how you are. And we've often just become alienated, separated. And this committee is looking at more precisely, how can we talk together? How can we really have communication on really difficult issues? And over the last, year and a half, I think we've had 3 different public forums. In the first, we had a group of panelists who talked about difficult issues that they had representing the Native American community, African American, LGBTQ1A+, and others who are sometimes receive discrimination. They talked about kind of what some of the issues are for them, how they respond to it. That one was attended by about 100 people from the general public. We've had 2 more since then. They were chaired by Mary Jelinas, who's a communication expert. And these have been smaller groups, but they were often bringing in professionals from the community, people who have to deal with difficult issues, often because they're in public service, so they're on the board of supervisors, they're on some of the city councils, and how do they deal with these kinds of things? So the last 2 meetings have been, I think, very nicely done, very well presented by Mary. They've also had smaller groups of respondents, and the respondents have often been more people who kind of share those same values rather than the more general public, maybe, who might benefit or really have concern. How do we communicate? And so there was a little bit of just, we were dealing with a smaller group of people. We also decided that, well, those forums, even if there's a smaller group of people who really share those same values, it's good for them to get together. As new people come, they can get mixed in. But we're also looking at the question, how can we really reach the broad general public and capture their interest? So that's one thing that we're in the future going to look at a little bit more. And certainly I'm very interested in thoughts that people might have as to what kind of a format would really benefit getting together people who have difficulty communicating on difficult issues and really beginning to address that. So we have, first of all, we find that President Flamer at the College of the Redwoods is developing some teach-ins, and he's hoping to get Mary to contribute to that. But teach-ins on the topic of communicating with difficult topics, we've reached out to him to say, well, we'd be real interested in collaborating, contributing with you on that. So far, we've not had a response on that. But we're looking in a sense how to, for future, get broader participants. One of the things that we're looking at is, for example, to do more effective advertising, more newspaper ads and things like that, or public service announcements and so on. So that's basically it. I think at this point, we're looking to get started to say, how can we more effectively reach the people in the community who really have concerns about communicating well?
I can add one.
Yes.
The very first event that we had was titled Free Speech versus Hate Speech. And that was because, actually the committee was called that at the beginning. And it's evolved more into how to talk with one another in a civil, constructive way. But I don't think we want to lose sight of the fact that free speech is the basis of everything that we're talking about here. So even when we're saying constructive conversations, or how do we talk with people who don't believe the same thing we do, we're still trying to uphold the free speech and that whole First Amendment of free speech, as opposed to having hate speech and being ugly about things.
What I wanted to add was, I think that the stated purpose of this committee should and can still stand. But at this point, I think I see an opportunity where a lot of other issues could be brought into this committee for the committee to develop some sort of a strategy to address a hot topic. It could be anything that strikes you as affecting people's rights, or the people that are underserved. Perhaps there could be a conversation about that, even if other people have technically done it before. It would be a good opportunity for us to do that and bring experts together and community representatives together. So I see it as a real opportunity to go in a lot of different directions. And that's where you all can help. If you can think of something that we should direct to this committee, I think it'd be a very good effort.
Sure.
I think what you're saying leads me to say, go to this forum on the 12th, because that's one of the things they're trying to do, is to talk about what we have and how we can make it better. These are the kinds of things in our community that lead to human rights, and to be sure that people do have all their human rights. So I think that's one way you can find out what's happening and how they are being affected by our society at the moment, and how perhaps we can address that on this commission.
Okay. Anything else, Rick?
No, I think that's it. I'm certainly open to questions or feedback that people might have, but that's basically what I have to present.
Okay, well, thank you very much. And like I said, attending this meeting might be an opportunity to broaden your outlook. And this committee is available now to launch on another project.
Mm-hmm. Okay, maybe let me just ask here for those who are here, shall we set another, basically a Zoom meeting here for anyway, for a couple of weeks or something? But I'm ready to do that.
That would be fine with me.
Okay. All right, so let's take a look here at what.
Yeah, even though there's a committee established, if you'd like to sit in on a Zoom meeting, you would be more than welcome to.
So something like November 19th. We generally have met on Wednesdays from about 3:30 at about 3:30. So the 12th, I know we already have that meeting with the Eureka Women's Club. But how about the 19th?
That works for me.
It does not work for me. We've got the youth commission meeting now
Okay.
that afternoon.
The day before Thanksgiving, the 26th.
That's probably not what we Anybody traveling?
Does it have to be a Wednesday?
Well, I think Wednesday works, and I don't want to shake that. Let's take a look at December 3rd. We don't have to immediately plunge in, but I'd like to at least get something set so that
Sure, I agree.
we start
December 3rd,
December 3rd.
that'd be fine.
Far enough, the calendars are empty.
They don't stay that way very,
Okay,
you said 3?
and I think we've been meeting at, let's see. And yes, 3 o'clock.
And I will share with everybody, whether you're planning to go or not, the Zoom link so that you can attend if you wish.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, the next committee is the Committee Outreach and Engagement Committee. And Peter, where are we?
Well, I've been outreached and engaged in a different part of the country till for the last month. So the question that created this committee is that at a time, and it's not unprecedented attacks on human rights in our country, but certainly a resurgence of attacks on human rights, whether it's First Amendment, people's ability to seek sanctuary, a million issues. The question is whether the commission could play a more concentrated role representing and bringing the issues to light that different groups are concerned about, might be experiencing. So the question is, who in the communities actually has human rights concerns? What are they doing? Is there a need for a more concentrated approach to it? Which I happen to believe there is. All of us who came from families that experience what happens when human rights don't exist know enough to take it seriously. So the question is, it's involving those folks and reflecting on what the machine can do and saying, well, we're doing all that we can do and should be approaching things that are different. I've interviewed a series of people. Everyone we've talked to are interested in participating. It's not clear to me that people see a path forward.
I might suggest something. I attended the Humboldt Equity Consortium meeting yesterday. And they are kind of trying to redefine their mission. They have connected with many, many groups in the area, but they don't know where to go from here.
Right.
And they were welcoming input from every group that wants to make suggestions on how we can more effectively work together. Because there are a lot of groups that don't even know what other people in the county do.
Right.
And we're more effective if we can, come on, the Human Rights Commission doesn't have to be the lead
Right.
on everything.
Probably shouldn't be.
Well, maybe shouldn't be, that's true. But we can be a participant. And so I would encourage the committee to investigate that possibility.
Sure, absolutely. There's another group that's had, I think, 5 meetings now. All about how can people work together. The representatives of different groups have been there. They've been happening on Sundays at the Labor Temple. And I've been at 3 of those and talked about what we're trying to do. There's a lot of interest there. There's no real center, but it doesn't need to end on that. So, anyway, people are interested. It's really just sort of fishing for energy to get more of a point on what's happening.
All right, next item is homelessness and behavioral health. Guy is the chair of that committee as well, and he isn't here tonight, so we don't really have a report on that issue.
Changing the date on the community outreach.
We start changing the date on all of them.
On all of them, okay.
Let's make it easier. Otherwise, I forget to bring it up. And that brings us to unfinished business. We really don't have much to talk about right now, except we had discussed and I think approved not meeting on January 1st, which is the first Thursday of the year, obviously New Year's Day.
Yeah.
And so we won't have a meeting during the month of January. We'll resume at the February meeting. And at this point, I would like to throw it open to everybody. If you came with an idea or an issue that you would like to see us put on the future agenda, this would be a great time to bring it up. We won't discuss it tonight, but we can at least know that this is something we need to bring to the commission's attention when I meet in December. Anybody have something like that in mind? Yes, sir.
Well, ongoing concern about healthcare and our lack of civic response to the healthcare crisis that everyone knows we're in. That completely disproportionately affects lower income people. There are other communities making progress because people are goddamn it talking to other people working on it. We're not. We're not able to get energy going here. And our institutions are not participating. And I think it's embarrassing and it's a scandal. And there needs to be a public statement and energy about how the fact that it's not okay for the institutions could actually be improving things to all say, oh, they'll take care of it, when clearly we're failing.
I have a suggestion. I'll put you on the spot.
Good.
We could, while we're waiting for December to come around and discuss this as an open issue, we could do a rapid response. And if you wanted to create a draft of a letter that would be published in the local media, it would have to be approved, but we could start there and say that it's going to be an agenda item in December.
I think it's a good idea, and we've done some of that already. I'm working on an article for the local press that would say our health failure is our civic failure, right? And just point out that it's not enough to say that Providence and Open Door aren't taking care of it, or we do, right? That's not a responsible community reaction. So I have to think about whether anything we can do, anything we can talk about to gain energy. There's a bunch of people in the community who've been working on it, and you literally cannot get a single institution put its back behind it. And everyone's protecting their own ass. And it's embarrassing, it's destructive, and people's lives are being lost because of it. Right. And
well, if you want to communicate some specifics that I might be able to incorporate in a letter, I would be glad to do that.
Yeah. But it's really aimed now at institutions.
Right.
I mean, we've really talked to every, and it's not going. Yeah. So.
Okay. All right. We'll do that. Yes. Great.
Just to maybe follow up a little bit on this young woman, Nicole, I think it was, who contacted him.
Yeah.
I think that she's been encouraged to send a letter. And there's sort of a couple levels. At one level, I think at her individual level, she probably could use a good attorney. But also, if there's a larger issue, well, I think, about, say, child abuse or not having that really covered or protected, then it seems to me that would be something that sort of is a new issue that I haven't seen us really work on directly. So I'd be interested to see, kind of from what she says, if there's a way of getting evidence that there's a larger problem that's going on in the county.
That might be a challenging investigation to take on, but that's good.
There's a recent nonprofit that is called the Concerned California Parent Coalition. And that was started this year because of the necessity for oversight in the family court and dependency court system. And I unfortunately also firsthand have went through an experience that also encouraged me a lot to join this commission. But I think that Nikki is definitely speaking about something that needs and deserves further attention.
Sound like you know her.
I do.
Yeah, okay.
I do. I mean, I've met a handful of parents who unfortunately relate to each other. And so, yeah, I do think, and I wanted to bring it up when you said about bringing up a subject, but I wanted to present it in a more organized way. But absolutely, that's something that
Well,
that needs attention. Our kids are, I mean, that's rich, poor, black, white, native. Our children
for sure.
deserve advocacy.
Well, the way this works is that we would like to put it on the agenda, but we'd have to have some
It's
specific
multifaceted.
direction.
It's very multifaceted.
Yeah.
CWS, dependency board,
Right.
minor council.
CWS comes up a lot.
Sure.
On that, the county. So if you want to communicate with me, maybe through anybody else, that's fine. And we can create an agenda item that makes sense for us to move forward on.
You know, building a structure of what to look at, I think would be a start because
Right.
like, there's a lot to it.
Great, thank you. Any
Thanks
other?
to Nikki for calling because that was brave of her.
Yeah, it was. Sure.
Is it possible for the Human Rights Commission to write letters to our legislators?
Of course.
Well, yeah, because currently, I'm on a health board. And right now, we are writing letters to a lot of the legislators based on the budget funding, the federal budget funding, SNAP, all the issues, Medicare, Medicaid cuts, the way that they have redesigned the criteria for applying for Medicaid and Medi-Cal in California, and how it will affect our community, because now they have to do it twice a year, and instead of once a year, and then the work requirements. It's going to be there's going to be a population of the poor that's not going to be able to do this, and it appears that they're going to need some advocacy. And I probably can. I'll ask to see if I can bring those letters, and we can see if we can make them generic.
Oh, yeah, that would be very
Human
good.
Rights Commission. If we could put that on the agenda,
So.
letters to legislators.
Yeah. So we're gonna have some things to talk about next month.
And you'll have to remind me because I was.
All right, we'll do.
Presenter that we had last month, or maybe it was the month before. No, it was last month. And he was in Sacramento and
Oh,
said that we could bring issues to him.
That was Chris Rogers.
Chris Rogers.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe there's a way to get those to him.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
he's on our list.
okay, good.
I had one question. Where are you guys holding your meetings and when, in case anyone wanted to participate?
Primarily right now, we're trying to figure out which room, but we're doing it on the Sierra campus. We meet in person at least the first Monday of every month from 4 to 5, and then is it third Wednesday? Yeah, third Wednesday online on Zoom from 6 to 7. That's the current schedule. We're trying to get a meeting room in the science building of CR, but I'll have to keep people posted about that.
Okay. Any last thoughts before we adjourn? I thought it might be a short meeting and it may. Go ahead.
Wow, there's a new book out called The Water Remembers by Amy Bowers Cordalis. And it's about the origins of the work on the Klamath River that led to the dams coming down. But an important story, if you have a chance to read it, is about Raymond Matz. And if you follow it along enough, people, that's sort of where all the protests that would lead to the dams coming down goes back forever. But if there was one incident, so Raymond, when he was your guy's age, his dad had taught him to do traditional fishing, which wasn't legal. And so he goes down to the river in 1964 or 5, and starts fishing, gets arrested. His fishing nets get taken away. He gets arrested 19 times over the next few years. They let him out, goes back, starts fishing again. So then he sued to get his fishing nets back. That went to the U.S. Supreme Court. U.S. Supreme Court at that point establishes that Indians have water rights on the Klamath River. Right? Because of that, the Yurok tribe can organize. Right? It's one person's protest at a key moment. They couldn't have sued over the dams if Raymond had gone to jail 19 times. Anyway, the story, she is his grandnephew and became the chief counsel for the Yurok tribe, and sort of documents what went on there. But it's really well written. It's really inspiring story. She's doing a lot of readings around the area now.
What was the name of it?
The name is Amy Bowers Cordalis.
And the book?
Book is The Water Remembers. The Water Remembers. This came out this last week. It's a little brown. It's a major release. And she is a local Yurok woman who has got the highest award for environmental activism from the United Nations. One of a bunch of people. Got incredible leadership right now, young people. Today, National was the last came out of every classroom in America, right? And the picture are the kids in the kayaks coming down the Klamath River, right? So that's our area has got lots and lots of things that need to be better, that we can be fixing. We also have a lot to look up to. And very disproportionate coming from the communities.
All right. Any final thoughts? Wait, Carol?
I never knew my dad, other than I met him 2 times in my life. But I know he's from the Little Shell tribe. And the Little Shell tribe just recently in 2019 became federally recognized after 156 years. And so there's a book out called Becoming a Little Shell. And it talks about the history of this tribe and the chief Little Shell. There's 3 chief Little Shells. And we're named after the 3rd one. But if you're interested in learning about how the indigenous people had to survive and being pushed from their land, from the treaties that were done, and then how they were not followed through, and then they took the land, and then they put the natives on a postage stamp piece of land, and how we've had to survive. This is an excellent book for you. Well, the reason I wanted to bring it up was his name's Chris Latre, is the author. He talks about the homeless and how the homeless, if you think about it in this book, it's similar to how the natives were pushed off their land and how they had to learn to survive, to go to live like the homeless. And at that time, we were called landless Indians. Although, so it's being landless, yet being indigenous is difficult. So if you think about the homeless now, they're in that state. They're being pushed out of society. And so the comparison of the Indians during that time and the comparison of the homelessness, to me, is a different point of view, to look at them. And the strives that they're having to do now would be like the strives of the indigenous people from their lands and and how they had to survive and how we as Human Rights Commission, maybe how we can help them.
All of this discussion kind of highlights the need for that tribal liaison position, because a lot of this just wouldn't be known. And that history wouldn't be represented. All right, well, I think we're going to call this meeting adjourned for the evening. I do need to see Carol before she leaves, and Helen, I think. But thank you all for being here. Thank you guys from the Youth Commission for staying the whole meeting. And we'll visit you again.
Also, there's usually help rearranging the tables back.
Actually, this is one night we don't have to do anything because they're doing a different arrangement.
Oh,
Tomorrow, so we don't
heck yeah.